Isaac Newton was a very famous mathematician. We know Isaac Newton, right? We know him as one of the smartest people. And he had a very close friend who did not believe in God. And so Isaac Newton would constantly have engagements and correspondence with his friend who did not believe in God. And so Isaac Newton devised kind of a plan of what he was going to do to try to get his friend on board. And so what he did is he went to a carpentry shop and he asked the owner of the carpentry shop to make a perfect scale model of the solar system out of wood. He said, I need it to be as accurate as possible. Take all the time you need, make it, put it together. And so the carpenter makes something similar to the picture that we're looking at this morning. It was the entire solar system to scale. And I imagine that Isaac Newton was just kind of sitting on his hands like we all do when we're waiting on a little special package to come in, or when we're waiting on something that we ordered. And so the woodworker works on it and he makes it. And Isaac, he calls him and he says, Mr. Newton, or he talks to him, sends a message, however they did it back in those times. And he said, I'm done. So Isaac Newton goes in and he looks at the scale and he's in awe of how beautiful and how awesome it is. So Isaac Newton takes it home and he puts it on his table. And a few days later, a few weeks later, he invites his friend over to his house and says nothing of it. His friend begins to take note of it. And he says, is it okay if I look at it? Isaac Newton says, yeah, go ahead. So he begins to inspect the solar system that was created. And he keeps making comments about how intricate and so how awesome it is. He's so impressed with the craftsmanship and beauty of the pieces. After a while, he can't take it anymore. And he says, who created this wonderful marvel? Isaac Newton responds to him, nobody, it just appeared. So his friend asks him again, something this beautiful, something this ornate, something this complicated would have never just shown up on its own. Who created it? And Isaac Newton responds to him again promptly and stubbornly. And he says, it just appeared on this table by accident. I can't explain it. And after they went back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, finally his friend becomes upset. And that's when Isaac Newton explains his answer. He basically said if he couldn't convince his friend that this crude replica of the solar system had just appeared by accident, then how could we explain that the solar system in all its perfection and beauty would have just showed up without a designer? What Isaac explained to him that day was that a beautiful design always has a designer. We are a beautiful design of God. We were created intricately. We were crafted beautifully. And there isn't just something that appears out of nothing. We have a designer, and the designer is the living God. And that designer deserves all the honor and all the glory and all the praise. We did not just appear out of nothing. God formed us and created us, and He loves us.